Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Before we really dive into things today, I'm just gonna wait to see if people trickle in, give people a few moments to get situated. Hope everyone's having a good day. Probably on lunch break or something right now. Um, here today we're gonna be talking about self-care. From a holistic perspective. Special guest today. He's coming on momentarily. What's up, Rodderick?
Hi, Brendan. How are you?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing today?
Good, good, good. Happy to be here.
Friday.
How about you? How's your day going?
It's good. I'm just doing testing today. So I'm in person. Talked to some really nice people doing community outreach. It's so cool to do community outreach, not just in person, but also virtual, like what we're doing now. How's your day going? I love your plant.
Oh, my babies, I have to showcase my plans
Yeah.
anytime I have the opportunity to. My day is going smoothly. It's been very productive. I love to end my week off on that note, and I'm excited for the weekend.
Sweet. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think we'll just wait like maybe one or two more seconds before we get started. People trickle in. Um, I might just get started with like a little intro for if people tuning in have not seen our lives. Whitman-Walker's Community Health Department has been expanding its outreach efforts across social media throughout the year that we've been in the COVID-19 pandemic. And we're covering a lot of various topics. Some talk about HIV, STIs, sexual health practices, access to care, determinants of health, COVID-19. Try to do it all. The next series of outreach sessions are going to focus on COVID a lot. But today we're here talking about something a little bit different, mental health. So we're just here as a team to educate you. So, anything you want to hear, please throw it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, so I guess we can do some introductions for people who might not know us on the video. So my name is Rodderick Shepherd. My pronouns are he, him, his, and she, depending on the nature of our relationship. And then my job title at Whitman-Walker is I am a prep specialist.
Yeah, I'm Brendan. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am the social media outreach HIV prevention coordinator at Whitman-Walker. So psyched to be here. So, Roderick, what are we talking about today?
All right, so today we're talking about self-care from a holistic perspective. We actually did a live video like this a year ago, so I'm so excited for us to come back and kind of reiterate some things, kind of have a little reminder or refresher about some things, and we're going to talk about self-care from a holistic perspective. So holistic health examines someone's health through body, mind, and spirit, and how they can work together to create wellness. And just for me and my personal health, I just find that to be vitally important when you have all those pieces together to create your wellness for you.
Definitely. So we're gonna start out with a question to the viewers. How do the people watching define self-care? So pretty open-ended question. Feel free to put your responses in the chat. If you're shy, you can just answer it to yourself. We won't judge you, but like we'd love to hear from you, love getting that engagement. Tell us what you think self-care is. How do you define it? What does that look like for you? We'll give just a few minutes for that.
Brenda, how do you define self-care?
I define self-care in a lot of different ways. I think as I get older, it's kind of intentionally doing things to make me like feel fulfilled and happy. Felt like as I've gotten older, it's had to be a lot more intentional. Like as a kid, I just kind of was able to do it, just like do things that I thought was fun. But now it's like really picking activities that like I might have to go out of my way to do, but I know will make me feel really good. How do you define self-care, Roderick?
Okay, so My therapist made a good point about self-care because he's always getting on me about that because I have like 50, 11 things going on. So self-care has become this glamorized thing where it's just like a spa day. You could do some retail therapy or something like that, but it's actually like a mix of different things, and self-care can look different from day to day. He encouraged me to look at self-care as more of a routine of care for yourself. So within this lab, like we're going to definitely talk about how that looks within the body, mind, and spirit.
And I think No More 600 wrote, she defined self care, how to fully love yourself. I'm still working on it. And we are all still working on self care. It's something that is a process. It's about the journey, not the destination. So we are all still working on self care. Great answer. Thank you for sharing.
Definitely a work in progress for sure. And I'm happy that self care is something that's more so talked about nowadays instead of working. Like that used to be a thing like, oh, you work now and you rest when you die. Like, no, I need rest now.
As it makes life a lot better if you take care of yourself. Um, so I think we're gonna talk about self care in like a bunch of different like categories. I think the first category that we're gonna talk about is like physical self care, like taking care of your body. I want to start out just by like first and foremost saying, like you really want to focus on your medical self care, and so that means like anything from attending your annual physical appointments just to get a checkup from a physician, medical provider, adhering to medications you might have to take, and then seeking help when necessary and not really letting your problems linger until they really affect you. I know that's something that I have to work on is like always just kind of brushing certain things aside, but really, really taking charge of your medical history and issues and like really getting that sorted out. It also means like dental care and hygiene. So like brushing your teeth twice a day, flossing, using mouthwash, like really taking care. I know that's one of the first things that goes for me when I get really stressed is I'm like I just won't brush my teeth before bed. But it is really good for you. So it's really something you got to carve out and do. And then going to the dentist for teeth cleaning and examination. And for those of you who may not have dental insurance, there might be resources in your area. I would suggest checking like dentistry schools because they often see patients free of charge. They'll have like a free clinic. Also, some organizations have dental services with a sliding fee scale to reduce the cost associated with dental care. So if you want to get that checkup, if you want to do dental self-care and you're not sure if you can afford it or if your plan is going to be able to cover that, I encourage you to check out those resources.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I used to be a case manager in my formal position, and we would like refer people to our universities. Dental school, I know Mary Center also has like a sliding fee scale with their dental services as well. So definitely look around for your resources. If you don't have insurance for dental, there's resources out there for sure. Hi, legendary titanium, aka what I call my green giant. Hi, Shug. What's going on, y'all? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and segue into let's talk about fitness. So I actually have a personal training session set up today, but I'm also gonna sign up for a boxing gym. So fitness for me is important to find things that work for you. Going to the gym might not be your thing. You might need to take some classes, Zumba, yoga, boxing. One thing that me and my friends do often during the when it's warmer outside and the weather's appropriate for. We do a lot of nature trails because DC has a lot of natural parks and things like that. So it's really big. And one that was on the list was dancing. I had lost about 100 pounds at one point, and I hadn't touched the gym. I hadn't like gone to any classes. Like I would dance in my house like I was in the club, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I love dancing. It's so free spirited, and it's a great activity to do. And then also, I always encourage people to be more active. And so, what I mean by that is take the stairs more instead of taking the elevator, park further away from maybe your destination where you can walk a little bit longer. A good thing to do, because I know a lot of us might be at home teleworking or working office gigs. When you're sitting down for a long period of time, it's good to kind of fidget in your chair a little bit to move around. And then when you've been sitting in your chair for a long period of time, you want to get up and you want to walk around, you want to move, you want to take a walk, you want to get up and be active. So that's what I mean by that. And then we're going to go on to the diet. So this is a vitally important time to be mindful of what you consume within your diet. That can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. But it definitely means making fruits and vegetables a staple within your diet routine. I personally always encourage to have a balanced diet. Not too much of this, not too much of that. Too much of anything can kill you, as the old expression would say. So it's really good to have a balanced diet. You incorporate different foods that can be nutritious for you within your diet, and you should be okay. And there's actually evidence that shows that as well. And then finally, look, I'm gonna be very real. I'm a foodie. I love food, so it's okay to indulge sometimes, but moderation is key. So before we go on to the next section, we're going to throw out another question, and we're going to take a look back and see if we got any responses from the previous one. But what are some of the foods that y'all really enjoy? Now, this can be good, healthy food, or this can be the foods you indulge. Put it in the comment section. Let us know what you enjoy to munch on.
I feel like I could list so many foods I love to indulge in. I feel like something that's really important for my diet, at least, is like not just what I eat, but like when I eat it. So I try to always have a routine. Like I like to wake up and I have like yogurt every morning for breakfast, and it's like really healthy. But I love bread, and I'll like always have a lot of bread before dinner, and it's not necessarily a dessert, so I don't like necessarily. It's not like it's bad for me, but when you have a loaf of bread, it's kind of a lot.
Yeah, our old press specialist, Carly, used to love bread. She loves rolls. And every time we walk past some of the restaurants and we see the basket of bread, it looks so good. Like, who doesn't love
Yeah,
bread?
yeah.
Yeah, we got a little jollof rice in the comment sections.
Mm,
Yes.
yummy. Well, y'all can keep putting your food answers down. I might move on just for time's sake.
And we'll circle back around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we talked about medical, dental, fitness, diet, all important parts of your physical health. I also want to touch on sleep. According to the CDC, a third of US adults report that they are usually getting less than the recommended amount of sleep. It's a huge amount of the population is not getting the sleep that they need. And not getting enough sleep is linked with a lot of health issues, a lot of chronic diseases. So like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, depression, etc. They recommend adults between the ages of 18 and 60 get at least 7 or more hours of sleep. But again, everyone's body's different. It's recommended also for better sleep to have like a schedule, to not consume caffeine or alcoholic beverages right before you go to sleep, to avoid late night cardio workouts, to disconnect from electronic devices like TV, smartphone, laptops right before you go to bed. It's going to make you have a better night's sleep. So I know sleep is really important for me. I think CDC says 7 or more. I function best on like 8 or 9. Like I can sleep all day. I love sleep. It's really important for me. I don't do well without it. So like this is something I have to be very intentional about with self-care. Is like I always try to go to bed at like 10:30 or 11, just because I do really love to sleep a lot.
Yeah, me too, for sure. I love my rest. My rest has always been important to me. I take naps. I enjoy naps very much so. So I definitely feel that. I'm more of a night owl, so I wish I could go to bed a little bit earlier, but the artist in me be up late.
That's
But I do prioritize my rest. Like I refuse not to.
Yeah, I think I like being up late, but I really it's like this is part of my self care is like I force myself to go to bed just because I know when I wake up the next morning I'm gonna thank myself, and it can be hard sometimes. And I don't always like achieve this. Like last night I was up at like midnight and I was like, well, I'm gonna be tired in the morning, but it's I try to be as intentional about it as I can. Um, okay. Bear CKC says, "Oh, that's my jam." Well, snooze. I get that. I feel.
Hi
Um,
there.
I think we talked a little bit about physical health. I think we're going to go on now and talk about spiritual self care. I think a lot of people find self care by getting a spiritual community. And so that for many people means like finding the right church home, community fellowship that you can be with to satisfy your spiritual needs. I think not in like a spiritual or religious sense. It also just means like staying connected. So encouraging face to face communication. I mean, like in COVID, it's been really hard to do that, but also through virtual mediums. So like FaceTime, Skype, Zoom. separation from blood happens in the LGBT community. And during this time, members of the community have to practice social distancing from their chosen family. So, just really building that face-to-face communication into your self-care routine is important.
Shout out to my chosen families out there.
Yeah.
Love y'all. All right. So I'm going to kind of talk about a couple of things in terms of like personal practices that honor your spirit. It's very important to do things that honor your well-being and your spirit. So for me, I do a lot of self-reflections. I know a lot of people talk about Mercury retrograde and how it's such a bad thing, but Mercury retrograde is actually a period that's really good to do self-reflection because it's time to review, reevaluate, and reflect. The RE is the key in retrograde. Practicing thankfulness and gratefulness. You can practice affirmations, but then there's also something called afformations. And pretty much it's you ask a question to yourself in a light where there's no doubt that the statement would be true, versus if you make a statement, you can kind of like prove that to be false or wrong, but when you ask it in a certain type of way of a question, you prove that like, oh, it can't be proven wrong, like it's fact. So like affirmation, you can say it's like, oh, why am I so blessed? Why am I so loved? Why am I healing? Like those type of things like that. When you say that, it's putting into the universe that it's fact, it's solid, that's what it is. So I love affirmations. Checking in with your emotional self is very important, and also checking in with your body. My therapist constantly reminds me to check in with our bodies, because if you don't check on your body will shut down on you. Okay. So you got to check in and identify like, how are you feeling? How's your body feeling? To really kind of take care of that. Laughter is one that is really, really important to me. I am a goop troop and I love laughter. So those are some personal practices to be mindful of to, kind of honor your spirit. Also, I do things like journaling as well. I think that's important as well. And then shout out to my artist gang on the chat. Artist gang. I need to see some hearts for the artist gang on there. For artists, this is also something that's very spiritual for us because I'm in an artist collective, and the director of the program, Monty Wolf, was just like, when you're an artist and you're not creating, like something ain't right. So it's very important to take time to do things that you love and that you enjoy, and practice your craft and building a talent, creating any unique expressions, and definitely going back and finish incomplete projects. Like a lot of times I know a lot of artists can have a lot of things going across their mind about what projects they want to do, but if you can go back to and finish it and have a full detailed project, like that would be dope too. So make time for that as well. And then feel free to also learn, even if you're not an artist, like there's still things creatively that you can do that kind of help, from coloring books and even picking up a new hobby or skill as well.
Yeah, I miss art so much, and it's so difficult in the pandemic to not be doing that. So I hope we'll get a return to performance, to showcases, to all that. I think so we've done physical self-care, spiritual self-care. I think we're going to move to another category, mental self-care. I want to start, I know we love that you are tuning in this Instagram live right now, but like we were saying with food, everything in moderation. It's so important to take breaks from media and social media platforms. I think a lot of people have been really affected by the current racial climate and developments that are happening around COVID-19, around Black Lives Matter. It can be really emotionally draining, and it can be so powerful to engage in those types of topics and in that type of content. But also, it's important, and it's okay if you want to take a break from media and social platforms to really just care for yourself, work on yourself.
Yeah, I have been one of those people that has had to take a break from media, that's had to take a break from social media. And when I was ready to kind of check back in, like I definitely check back in. I'll pull up my news sources so I can stay current on current events. And even sometimes if I hear about certain things, I might not watch it. I know a big thing is a lot of times in terms of Black lives, like we see these videos from the police body cams, or either a lot of times somebody might film it, and a lot of times you're basically watching someone get murdered, and that's a bit much. So like when I hear about stuff like that and I have the option to watch the video, a lot of times I choose not to for my self care. So you know you can do the same. You don't have to watch it. Do what's best for you in those moments and taking care of yourself. And so one big thing that I think I've talked about and plugged several times throughout this live is therapy. I swear by therapy, and I'm actually a therapist in training. Shout out to my social workers and mental health professionals that might be out there. Um, so I wanted to talk about finding a therapist. So when anyone is looking for a therapist, I always recommend Psychology is today's therapy search engine. It's a wonderful tool to use. You can enter your insurance information, or you can enter your insurance company. It will narrow the options down by who is accepting. Or who accepts your insurance. You can put in LGBTQ, you can put in your race if you want a particular race, male and female. It's a really great source. I found a Black queer therapist on Psychology today, and it's been a great experience. And then not only that, another thing that people don't know that you can do is you can actually call your insurance company and tell them you're looking for a therapist, tell them what you're looking for, and they will email you a listing of therapists that are accepting new patients within your network. So that is another tool to use to find a therapist that I don't think a lot of people know about. And then there are resources for people who are uninsured, because we understand that that happens. So the National Alliance on Mental Health has a health resource line to help answer any questions, offer support, and then inform you on how to access any free or low-cost services in your area. So that number is 1-800-950 6264. So you can give them a call, or even you can go to the website and check them out. It is a resource I've actually referred to family members that were going through some mental health things, so definitely check them out. And then Open Path Collective is a national nonprofit network of mental health professionals dedicated to provide therapy at a reduced rate. So there is a one-time membership fee of $59. After that, you can use their network of therapists for the rest of your life. And after that, the rates for therapy sessions range between $30 and $60. And so now we've talked about a lot. And so what I want to do is also give you all some tools to kind of lead with. And so in the community health department, we do a lot of mindfulness practice. We usually do it before our department meeting. It's something that I've done in training with phlebotomy, but some of my folks, a lot of times you can be really nerve-wracking, you know, when you're training for phlebotomy. You don't want to, you know, hurt anybody, anything like that. And I've had to tell people, like, you got to calm down, because you got to be confident as you're doing this blizzard. It makes a difference. And so I've been really learning different techniques, and I'm happy to share this with you all today. So there are two techniques we're going to go over today. One is the 5-4-3-2-1 coping technique. It's a technique that therapists recommend if you're going through, like, you're about to have like an anxiety attack or a panic attack or something like that. You can do this technique, and then as well as there's a basic box breathing technique that I'll go over with you all. And so we're going to start simply with our eyes open, because the 5-4-3-2-1 coping technique requires you to use all 5 senses. And so initially what I want you to do is just make sure that you're seated in your environment. So make sure that your back is straight. What you want to make sure is that your chakras are fully aligned. So you want energy to flow from your root chakra all the way to your crown, and then from your crown back down to your root chakra. So sitting up in the chair with your back straight is going to do that, and then also you can lay down. Just make sure that you're comfortable. And so what I want you to do is I want you to observe your environment, and I want you to identify 5 things that you can see with your eyes. What does it look like? What is the shape? What is the color? What is the particular object? Identify 5 things that you can see with your eyes. Now, I want you to identify 4 things that you can touch. What are 4 things that you can touch? Think about how maybe they would feel. Would it be a smooth surface? Would it be a rough surface? Find 4 things that you can touch. Now, I want you to take a moment to identify 3 things you can hear. So, for example, for me, my neighborhood has a lot of trees. I can hear birds chirping. What are 3 things that you can hear? You may hear your air conditioning unit. You may hear the cars driving outside. What are 3 things that you can hear? Now, I want you to find 2 things that you can smell. What are 2 things that you can use your sense of smell to identify? And finally, I want you to identify 1 thing that you can taste. Identify 1 thing that you can taste. Now we're going to move into the breathing technique exercise, and I want you to gently close your eyes. I'm going to start out with a regular, normal breathing pattern. All right, so I want you to inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4 seconds. Now exhale all your breath out, 4 seconds. Now inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Now hold your breath for 4 more seconds. And let's do it 1 more time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can return back to the space and you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. So those are 2 techniques that you can try out. Feel free to try any of the apps. They also will teach you different techniques to achieve mindfulness and meditation. And the box breathing technique is one of my personal favorites.
In community health, we absolutely go crazy for Rodderick doing mindfulness techniques with us. These have been so wonderful. So thank you so much for sharing with us in the space today, Rodderick.
Of course, no problem.
And if there are no more questions,
And motherly figures. Brendan, are you back?
I'm not sure what happens. All of a sudden, everything went dark.
Yeah, I think you went out for a bit, so I had started the conclusions. So we were just wishing everyone, or our mothers out there, our aunts, our godmothers, and sisters, and motherly figures. A happy Mother's Day because that is this weekend. And we would like to take a moment to acknowledge those living without their mom or may even have lost a child. We understand that this holiday may be difficult and practice self care this weekend and do what's best for you. This weekend. And we also want to acknowledge the graduates of 2021. So, congratulations to all your academic achievements and accomplishments.
Yeah, so exciting. Whitman-Walker is open for a lot of services. I want to highlight our HIV and STI testing. If you want to come in, make an appointment to get tested for HIV and STIs, just call us at 202-797-4439. That's a pretty general number too. If you have any questions about just like general health, sexual health, also COVID-19, any resources, you can call us at 202-797-4439. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And also, go ahead, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're posting content constantly, Instagram lives, infographics, trying to get you as much information and much engagement as possible.
All right, everyone. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure y'all follow us on our social media handles. Thank you, Brendan, for inviting me to, blaze through on the social media platform. This was great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming, Rodderick. It was so great to talk to you. Thank you for letting me join your mindfulness session. It's been so much fun.